Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure to invite and request our chief guest, Padmashri Dr. S. Subramanian, to address the gathering and share his experiences with us.
Mr. Sharma, Mr. Lesaya, Sri Raju, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to be with you here. I am no stranger to BHEL. I had been to all your locations and I have been here when Vigilance was here as executive director to pay attention. So I know all about Ramachandrapuram. It was wilderness in those days, but now it is part of the city. Now friends, I do not wish to give you a highly technical lecture. I am leaving with Raju the PowerPoint presentation which Vigilance Department will organize one day for all of you. I will give you a copy of the outline also which will be distributed everywhere. Because whatever technology we have to use, we have to be clear about the concepts. So I am going to talk about concepts. What is vigilance about? Vigilance aims to maintain an ethical atmosphere in organizations. That brings to your question, what is ethics? Ethics is doing good things and avoiding bad things. Since every individual has got his own opinion about what is good and what is bad, every organization has to have a code of ethics. That is the basic principle. Then, for the employees' guidance, we must have a code of conduct. Whatever we may call conduct rules or whatever it is, the code of conduct for employees. Now, all these things ensure that the organization as well as the employees try to do what is accepted as good and avoid what is accepted as bad. Now, world over, business is no more making money. Business is about being accepted by society. Abroad, very big organizations have fallen because they followed the old system of making money at all costs, which include cost to the society. Like all of you know, Bhopal gas tragedy. It was a successful company, but they ignored their social responsibility. So it resulted in an avoidable disaster. So the ethics now is being impressed upon on all organizations. You cannot do a thing which is not ethical from the point of view of society. Now friends, 20 years ago, you were in the seller's market. You are the only one who was making plans for power generation, this, that, and that. Today things are different. All the major international companies are your competitors. ABB and whatnot, they are all your competitors. Now, if you don't have a good ethical image, you cannot sell abroad. Now you can sell in India. Now, it is so difficult now, if you don't have an ethical image, you cannot have a success in business. Now you must have been reading in newspapers, Ford company has withdrawn millions of cars, and some other company has withdrawn its product. So and so pharma company had stopped marketing this. All this, if you look into, has got an ethical connotation. So the first and foremost thing we have got to keep in mind is that to succeed as a business organization, we must follow the ethics in our day-to-day. Now what is vigilance? As I told you, it ensures ethical ambience in an organization. Now, when you go with family to watch a movie, what do? You lock your house. Why are you locking your house? There is a police everywhere. Police is trained to ensure that no crime takes place. Because you are trying to prevent an opportunity for the wrongdoer. So the vigilance aim is to prevent the opportunities for the wrongdoers and give facilities for good do-getters. That is why in vigilance they call it proactive vigilance, preventive vigilance, etc., which are positive, and punitive vigilance, which are negative. That is when you catch somebody stealing, you punish him. Now, the title given by Central Vigilance Commissioner is of technology enablement. How will you get technology enablement? Unless you know what are the problems which are existing with you. Who can find out? We have a humorous saying, the only the man who has got eczema will scratch himself. Now, unless we, the employees, whatever name you call it, executives, etc., we identify what are our blemishes and how to get rid of them, we cannot have vigilance in the organization. So the first and foremost of proactive vigilance is examine your procedures, practices, and ensure that there is no scope for anybody to do wrongdoing. So what is required? In every division, in every department, there should be a self-introspection to examine what we are doing and find out from there whether the existing systems are good and whether they give scope for any wrongdoing and remove it. So the first and foremost thing is examine our own procedures, practices, and ensure that wherever there are loopholes, they are plugged. Long ago, maybe 30 years ago, I went to a factory. They were importing steel rods, stainless steel rods from Germany. Their manufacturing manual, operations manual says anything less than 60 centimeter is scrap. So fellows are cutting the rod to less than 60 centimeter, throwing it through the window. So the disposal had a big market than the original product. And since our public are enormous, they promptly re-rolled it and say a foreign kamale, forgetting the metallurgy, that when you re-roll it, all the properties are lost. Now, why this happened? It happened because our procedure said 60 centimeter and less is scrap. Maybe at that time when it was put up, it was relevant, but in today's thing it is not relevant. So we have to constantly examine. Now there are areas like procurement where we had major problems. I have been working in this field of vigilance for the past 4 decades. Procurement was a major problem of corruption. Now what has happened? We have introduced the IT now. Procurement has, to a great extent, has become corruption free. But still what is happening? It is very unfortunate. Major organizations are not developing their own IT systems. They are buying from vendors and installing it in their things. And they are susceptible to interception. So there have been cases where outsiders could manipulate data. That is because of our when you have got a full-fledged IT department, you are buying from some vendor just because of laziness, not for anything else. The IT department can do it in no time. Out of sheer laziness, you go for a proprietary item which is given to everybody, so everybody knows how it works, how it can be tampered with. Disposals. Nobody ever thinks of in organization, can this be utilized for our own organization? No. Everybody is concentrated on disposal. Why? Not all disposals are useless. If it is useless, nobody will pick it up. Whereas there is a big clamor to pick up what is you are throwing out and disposal. Why? Can't we not use it? Can we not recycle it? This we are not thinking. Now, when you are examining your systems and procedures, you will find answers for this. It will not only reduce the wrongdoing, but it will also give profit to the organization. Second thing, if you see the conduct rules of any organization. Now, incidentally, friends, all of you, being the part of the central government, public sector undertakings, are public servants. Public servants have got protection under law. Nobody can throw you out of the job. Under 311, you have got a protection that the proper inquiry has to be held, blah, blah, and all that. Now, it also stipulates the organization has got a right to monitor the conduct of the public servant, and public servant is duty bound to follow that conduct rules. If you see the conduct rules, it comes under three major items. Personal conduct, conduct with the organization, conduct with the public. Now in personal conduct, bigamy, this, that, all these things are there. And conduct with the public, there is another list. And this. Now the problem is, nobody ever reads this. The usual endorsement, seen but not read, in all government organizations. You see a paper, don't read it. Simply initial and pass it on to somebody. Now if you read the conduct rules, you will find everything has got a meaning. Now, when you are talking of vigilance, vigilance not only prevents people to ask people to maintain integrity, but it also makes it obligatory on a public servant not to do anything unbecoming of a public servant. Now when we talk of integrity, integrity is not just a financial honesty. Integrity is honesty of thought, deed, word, and financial probity. Integrity is a big thing. Now, lack of integrity is prohibited under conduct rules. What is unbecoming conduct? A public servant has got a status in society. He cannot do things which will bring disrepute to not only to him but to the organization. It is nowhere defined, but it is based on facts of each case. I'll give you just a couple of examples of unbecoming conduct. One magistrate was writing LLM examination in one of the North Indian states because he had to get his promotion. And as is the tradition there, he was copying. And he was caught by the invigilator. And it was reported to High Court, it was reported to University. University banned him for 2 more years, you can't write the exam. High Court suspended him and proceeded on department inquiry, and he was dismissed. He went to Supreme Court. He said, while copying as a student, I was not doing public duty. How can you dismiss me? This is a Supreme Court case. He was right. You see, from his angle, he was copying as a student, which is mandatory in that area. But you catch him because he is a magistrate. Now the Supreme Court said, a judicial officer copying in a public examination brings judiciary into disrepute. Hence, dismissal is upheld. Now you see, conduct unbecoming of a public servant. It is nowhere laid down in the book, a magistrate shall not copy. Because every act, so when we are in public, we must maintain such conduct that will not bring disrepute to you, nor to the organization. Now, Mahatma Gandhi said, it is quoted everywhere, there is enough for everyone's need, but there is not enough for everyone's greed in this country. So most of the corrupt activities take place because of a craving for material things. And if you really calculate, it doesn't amount to anything. But whatever is happening is because the man has got a tendency and craving for material things. If you read Prevention of Corruption Act of 1988, it doesn't talk about money at all. It says a public servant using his position, doing something to illegally gratify his senses. What is gratification of senses? What are the gratification of senses? Hunger, sex and all these things. One need not take an naya paisa, but every evening you go with the contractor to a 5-star hotel and have dinner. That is corruption. Satisfaction of senses, gratification of senses. That is why corruption is called illegal.